Here is a bit of wisdom from your Uncle Cooper. Tires exist on a spectrum. On one end, you got too much tire. On the other, you don't get enough. Both ends are rip-offs. You're either paying for more than you need or needing more even after you pay. So if you want a tire that costs what tires should cost and does what tires should do, go right for the sweet spot. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Championship so close you can taste it. Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100. Side by side. And your new champion, Kirkwood Rasmussen.
Welcome back, race fans, from the summer break. I hope you've got a tan. I've been working on mine. Rob Houghton has been working on his. We are here at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the top two rungs of the road to Indy to continue the championship.
Yeah, indeed. This is pretty cool. First time Indy Lights drivers have been on an oval in 2 years, having been off last year with the hiatus. So good to see all these guys get out here. And the interesting thing, a couple of drivers really have no oval experience at all. Didn't come through the road to Indy. So you guys got Linus Lundqvist, Benjamin Peterson. They've never raced on an oval before.
Alex Perrone.
Yeah.
And not to mention they haven't raced on an oval. Let's talk about other differences. First time in Indy Lights history, we're having a double header on an oval.
Yeah, interesting for sure.
And what's even more interesting, ovals already pay points and a half. So this is really, I mean, it's not just a double-header weekend. It's like a double-header weekend and a half.
Yeah, the concept was to try to get these drivers some seat time, some race time on the ovals. Normally, as you guys know, with the Freedom 100, we like to have 3 races for Indy Lights on the oval. Really, had we only got a 1 race, it would be just that one and done. The 2 races give these guys a chance to go wheel-to-wheel 2 different days. But, man, that's going to be tough tomorrow. Number one, don't knot your stuff up today. Don't wreck a car today, and then be physically and mentally ready tomorrow.
Yeah, and Indy Lights here is quite physical. I mean, you're hanging on to a pretty powerful beast on an oval. These are the highest average speeds in both Indy Pro 2000 and Indy Lights that we see all season long. And you already mentioned a lot of guys have never driven an oval. They've got to do a double header. Something unique about this race weekend, you look at the qualifying format for Indy Pro 2000. It's the same. It's the average over 2 laps. Sets the grid for their 1 race tomorrow. Indy Lights is a little different, though. I like the curveball that we've thrown at the drivers. Lap 1 sets the grid for race 1.
Yep.
Lap 2 sets the grid for race 2.
It was interesting because I'm, of course, ready to call that average. But, yeah, the lap 1, lap 2 is, I think, really interesting because the first lap you're really trying to get that banker lap in, right? You want to make sure you're comfortable with the car. So it kind of shook up the way qualifying 1 was. Whoever had really good confidence in the car went at it immediately, like a David Malukas. He ends up P1. A couple other guys, I think, maybe hanging back. That's why they went faster in lap 2.
Well, and if you think of the psychology of how these race teams and how these drivers are setting the car up, one thing that's unique about oval qualifying, obviously, is it's not a 20 or 30-minute session where all the drivers go out on track together. It's single-car qualifying. And what's unique here at Gateway Motorsports Park, or Worldwide Technology Raceway as it is now, is you get that practice lap. So you go out and you get that 1 lap, and you see different strategies play out. Some guys push it as hard as they can to get the heat in the tires. Other guys don't push it as hard as they can. You'll see a slow first lap. So I've raced this track 3 years, and I've done it different 3 years in a row. So that shows you that it's just what feels good that first year. Another thing that's kind of interesting is the difference of scrubs versus no scrubs for tires. So you get a certain allotment in Indy Lights and a certain allotment in Indy Pro 2000. A lot of teams opted in Indy Pro 2000 to actually scrub the tire.
Interesting.
And it's just the year of, Cooper Tire. I know that the compound is the same year to year, but the weather's a little different. You probably see on my face right now. I'm sweating. It's a hot, muggy August day here just outside of St. Louis. So the approach changes a lot for these teams. So it's interesting to see how it all plays out.
Well, I like the fact that you have that experience. You've done it before on 3 different opportunities, so you have that idea. Parker does of exactly how to approach things. You never really know, and you're right. It's 90 degrees here right now. I want to say 65% humidity, so that's made things really interesting. We'll see what happens tomorrow for Indy Lights race number 2. But I love the fact that in qualifying, you got Malukas, of course, in the championship battle, Kirkwood in the championship battle. Malukas gets pole for race number 1. Kirkwood comes back and gets the pole for race number 2. Whatever happens today is going to set the grid or set the kind of tone for what happens tomorrow at the start.
Well, and you couldn't write a better storybook on that. But what was interesting was leading up to this race, let's give some insight to the fans. HMD Motorsports and Global Racing Group with HMD Motorsports got an extra test day throughout the season because they're a new Indy Lights team, and they opted to use it here with Linus Lundqvist, with Benjamin Pedersen. And did they have another one at the test?
I think David Malukas ran the second day when they were here, right?
He did. David Malukas, obviously a returning driver,
Yep.
I believe, didn't get to go on the second day.
He didn't go the first day, went the second day instead, I believe, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So they had kind of the leg up on Andretti, and they showed up here. I mean, you look at the final practice before qualifying, it was HMD 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, who's that paid off for, right? Not so much David Malukas, but for sure Linus Lundqvist and Benjamin Pedersen, giving them the chance to have a lot more seat time at this particular racetrack. And it is kind of the swing event right now with the 2 races up for grabs. As Parker said, usually 30 points for a race win, 45 points for a race win. We're going to do it twice. So literally you could make a big swing in the points for either of those drivers.
Well, and we'll get into the championship here before the race because it's interesting. Kyle Kirkwood coming off huge momentum at Road America. A lot of people forget he's only 10 points ahead, I believe.
Yeah.
What is that number?
I think it's third. Actually, I think it's no. Yeah, I think you might be right. Actually, I don't have it in my head. It's not that. It's not long. Yeah.
It is not long,
Yeah.
and even I made that mistake. You know, you talk with different guys. Who's your money on? Well, Kirkwood. You can never count him out in the second half of the season, but this is the first time where I think he's going to have to really work for it.
One thing I like to see as well, throw this out there for Malukas and Kirkwood. They've both won already on a street circuit and on a natural terrain road course. So if you get a win here, that's the trifecta. You've won on all 3 of the different configurations that we run on. I think that'll be interesting to see which driver can do that. Heck, it could be both. They could swap the wins here and nothing happens, and then we go to the next race at Portland and it's still all up for grabs.
It's going to be really interesting. And Indy Lights has always put on a show here. It's cool. I know these the Illinois and then the St. Louis fans always come out in full force on Friday and Saturday night to watch the Indy Lights, and there is passing. You know, this isn't a follow the leader track. I find Indy Lights has put on a show in the past. We've seen lots of moves.
And you got to go back to that battle between Colton Herta and Ryan Norman, the 2 Andretti teammates. They literally side by side for at least 15 or 20 laps at the end. Ryan Norman just able to hold it. He was always able to kind of get the run. Colton would come back. It's always that big run down the back straightaway. The tighter nature of turn 1 and 2, even though it has a little more banking than 3 and 4, if you can't get out of there, driver will come out nicely, maybe diamond the corner, get that big run, and it's all about, you've been in the car before, it's all about who's got the guts going to throw it into the inside of 3.
You literally play chicken. And the cool part about here, too, is there's multiple lines to run. You know, I went and watched Lights qualifying. I obviously watched Indy Pro 2000 qualifying. Everyone has kind of their own spin on the line around here. It's not a one-line joint, so it's going to be interesting to see these lights go head-to-head.
And again, this is the crucial time, and I think this is where you wonder whether or not a guy like Kirkwood has won so many races. Of course, 4 wins already for Malukas as well, but he didn't win as much coming up through the ranks as Kyle Kirkwood. He hasn't been pressured into a championship battle. I think that's the only kind of unknown right now for David Malukas. When pressured to try to win a championship, does he step up? Does he rise to the occasion, knowing already that Kirkwood can do it?
Well, let's get into predictions. Rob? Who's your money on? Race 1.
Race 1, honestly, I'm going to go Kyle Kirkwood. I think that he won dominantly here last year or 2 years ago. Of course, nobody was able to make that move to the front, past you on the way through, I believe. In that particular drive from the back, everybody else was at the bottom. He went to the top. He's got the top side. I think if Kirkwood gets a really good start and is able to go side by side, he may be able to run the top and potentially pinch Malukas down. I think the first couple laps could say it all.
Every time I've interviewed David Malukas before a race, he's went out and won. So
and did you?
My money, yeah.
All
we
right.
interviewed today. He did his big. Obviously, there's some announcements. There's some rumors going around. He's looking at IndyCar.
Yeah.
I think IndyCar teams are interested in him. So we talked about that today. I would say my money is on David Malukas.
And dark horse, just to give him some props, Benjamin Pedersen has been strong the entire time. Testing, practice, or testing, then practice. He's been right up there. Like you said, HMD 1, 2, 3. We get a bit of a skirmish early on. You look for Linus, look for Benjamin to jump up into the fray as well. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, and it's always nice to have those teammates there supporting you if you need that support,
That's
to
true.
give you a little breathing room
That's
to
true.
work on a guy for
That's
the lead. But before we get under this race underway, let's dive in to what is really unique about Worldwide Technology Raceway. We will take you on a track segment. The Saturday night here at Gateway is one of the best attended events that IndyCar and their support series has on the calendar. Along with that, most ovals we visit on the RTI are known for their symmetry at both ends of the track. That's what makes this weekend so exciting as a fan. The drivers have to deal with two completely different corner angles and two completely different banking styles over the course of 4 corners here at WWTR. On the topic of differences, the big change for this weekend in 2021 is the addition of another race for our Indy Lights drivers. This will be the first time in history that Indy Lights has done a double-header on an oval weekend, and it puts even more pressure on the championship as ovals already pay 1.5 points compared to regular road course races. Let's hope that our Indy Lights drivers don't indulge too much in that St. Louis barbecue, because they are up for a busy and dizzy weekend making left turns here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. In the famous words of Rob Howden, let's book it here in St. Louis.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
For our next driver profile, we've listened to the fans, and we want to hear from the Miami-based Italian-Canadian, Devlin DiFrancesco. Devlin, thanks for coming on the show with us. How did you get into motorsports?
Well, actually, funny you asked that. In the Christmas of 2006, my dad kind of went behind my mom's back and ended up buying 2 go-karts, one for me and one for my little brother, and put them under the Christmas tree, and everything started from there.
Did she notice something was weird under the Christmas tree?
I don't know how that worked, but I don't know if he snuck out during the night to get them or something, but I know the first time she saw them was Christmas morning in 2006.
That's awesome. And take us from there. It's obviously a passion you and your father shared, karting. How did the career grow from there?
Career started in Sutton when I was about 7 years old. Started doing go-karts there, and in Goodwood, doing Canadian races, Canadian championships, and then moving to the U.S. and doing the Florida Winter Tour with you. And when you were younger, it's funny, all the same guys that we raced against back in the day are now here. So yeah, racing in 2008, 2009 in the States, and then first went off to Europe in 2011 to race it in Italy.
Well, that's awesome. And for our Canadian fans back home, I think we have to give a shout out to Goodwood. I've raced there. Devlin obviously grew up there, so pretty cool to have 2 Canadians on the road to Indy. You're a race winner in British F4. You're a race winner in the Euro Formula Series. What then brought you back to America to get your start in Indy Pro and now Indy Lights?
Honestly, I saw a much better career for myself here in the U.S. with the sport of the Steinbrenners, with George Steinbrenner and Michael Andretti. What 2 amazing people to have support from. It's a dream that really not many people, everybody has, and everyone is asking for sure.
So I have to ask, have you been to a Yankees game with the Steinbrenner connection?
That is soon to be. I've watched a couple games with him, but I haven't been to one yet.
I think that's a request we need to ask from George.
Yes, of course. I definitely want to go to a baseball game with him soon.
Well, that sounds awesome. We can't wait to watch Devlin DeFrancesco kill it for the rest of the year. Thanks for coming on the show, and best of luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you.
For our next driver profile on the road to Indy, I am bringing you a racer's racer. Toby Sowery, driver of an Indy Lights car. Toby, how did you get your start in racing?
Just for fun. I think like a lot of sports, you just, you attend an event, so birthday party for my instance, and then just pursue it. You snowball into some sports, some others you don't like, you fall out. But for racing, it was just a karting party as a baby growing up, and then here we are.
Very interesting. So karting, how did that career go?
Hastily. It was up and down, we never had the big budgets to go to Europe, to World Finals, but all the British stuff that we did, it was competitive. We went with some big teams, some factory teams, so I think I had a lot of success, but not enough for my desire.
Well, maybe not a lot of karting success, but moved to 2014, you won the British MSV F3 Cup. In 2015, you were the MRF Challenge winner, is that correct, in Dubai? So immediate success in cars, and then most recently 2019 finishing 3rd in the Indy Lights Championship. Toby, what brought you to the road to Indy?
A lot of factors, there's a reward system out here which we don't have in Europe, so they actually reward progress and success. So that was one of the main factors. We got a few phone calls that were out of the blue, looking to bring other European drivers over, as it wasn't as big as it is now. So there was a few factors, but the sun, the shine, the girls, the beaches, the drinks, all of that sort of stuff. But the racing, obviously.
This is your first year living in the U.S. I know in 2019 you stayed over here for an extended period of time, but first year based in Indianapolis. How's that went?
It's going good. The weather's a bit up and down. I've got some trouble with my roommate here and there, but I'm actually enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. I didn't know what to expect, but so far it's been a really good experience.
Oh, that's awesome. It's good to have you in the U.S. Now, I have to ask, a lot of the fans have been telling me about your nickname on social media, the Wellstone Raider. Can you please describe to us where that came from and how it's developed?
What you want, Sam?
Huh?
You want, Sam?
Well, the old Soprano, wouldn't
You
it?
want, Sam, or what?
It was just a bit of a joke starting off. You bring some English culture over, and then there's this famous character called the Wellstone Raider, who kind of aggressively goes at another fan just for calling him out, and the term is, you want some, I'll give you some. And it just kind of stuck, I got a nickname from it, and they've not stopped telling me that.
Well, as we saw at Indianapolis GP, the other drivers wanted some and you were giving it to them. So that was fantastic. Toby, thanks for coming not only to the U.S. with us, but thanks for racing here on the road to Indy with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Here is a bit of wisdom from your Uncle Cooper. Tires exist on a spectrum. On one end, you got too much tire. On the other, you don't get enough. Both ends are rip-offs. You're either paying for more than you need or needing more even after you pay. So if you want a tire that costs what tires should cost and does what tires should do, go right for the sweet spot. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Championship so close they can taste it.
Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100.
Side by side. And your new champion, Kirkwood Rasmussen. And we are ready to go for what will be a start of a doubleheader weekend on this very challenging 1.25-mile racetrack. Hello, friends. My name is Rob Howden, joined in the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center by Steve Wittig from TSOladder.com and Trackside Online. We'll come to Steve throughout the broadcast to get some insight on what's happening throughout the weekend thus far. But as we have said, it's time to go racing once again with Indy Lights. It's the stretch run of the championship as well. Doubleheader here this weekend, and it'll be a crucial weekend at that with 45 points up for grabs in both of these races. Somebody comes in and steals full points, and they're going to have an opportunity to jump out into a very nice lead in this championship battle. Will it be Kyle Kirkwood? Will it be David Malukas? Both those drivers earning a front row start, pole position start for the doubleheader weekend events here. We got a full grid of drivers ready to go for you right now, 12 in total. The only driver not making the run here, Nikita Lastishkin. We'll hopefully see him back before the end of the season. But as we jump into it, getting set to go, 90 degrees trackside as we work our way into the early evening here in Madison, Illinois. A little bit of cloud cover, still blue skies, but 90 degrees, as I said, and 65% humidity. Very muggy here, and it should be interesting in terms of downforce on this racetrack. Let's have a look at the grid before we come to Steve Wittig. 12 drivers getting set to go and starting on the outside of row number 6 from Ontario, Canada, in the Pissarra Racing number 11, the rookie Antonio Saravalli. He turned a 153.157 mile per hour lap to give him the 12th position here. And on the inside of that row, out of Louisiana in the number 7 for Carlin Racing, it's Christian Bogle, the rookie, starting in the 11th spot. Bogle, 153.717 miles per hour. You can see Bogle getting himself suited up and ready to go. They're buckling him in for what will be his first oval event in an Indy Lights race car. So many of our rookie drivers, their first oval in Indy Lights competition. Moving now to row number 5 on the outside. Last year's Indy Pro 2000 champion from Payette, Idaho, running for Juncos Hollinger Racing. It's Stingray Robb in the number 2, the rookie, in the 10th position. Again, a first time starting an Indy Lights car on an oval event. Alongside him, another driver, exactly the same situation. Alex Perrone in the number 5 from Australia for Carlin Racing in the Blundstone sponsored machine. Perrone starting in the 9th spot. We'll move now to row number 4 on the outside. Toby Sowery. He does have experience here at Worldwide Technology Raceway back in 2019. Sowery for Juncos Hollinger Racing. In the number 51, the UK driver starting in 8th. Inside of row number 4, a winner last year here at this racetrack in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Loves the ovals, despite not having a lot of experience. For Andretti Steinbrenner Racing in the Power Tap Jones Soda number 17. Devlin DiFrancesco will start in the 7th position. Moving now to row number 3 on the outside at Mount Kisco, New York, a one-time winner on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Robert McGinnis for Andretti Autosport in the number 27, starting in 6th. Inside of that row, out of Singapore, in that number 68 machine, a bunch of pole positions midway through the season. Still looking for that first Indy Lights victory. Daniel Frost in the 68 for Andretti Autosport. The DenJet sponsor machine will launch from P5. Moving now to row number 2, both drivers from Global Racing Group with HMD Motorsports. Again, a lot of testing being done before coming in. As a new team, they were able to get one additional test day, and they did it here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. They wanted to have that extra test day, the extra speed to potentially go for race wins. So again, it'll be Linus Lundqvist, 2 times the winner this year, starting on the outside of row number 2 in the 4th position in the number 26, the Swedish rookie, looking very strong. Alongside him from Denmark, it'll be Benjamin Peterson in the number 24, now living up in Seattle, Washington. But Benjamin has been real strong here mid-season. The driver of the Dirtfish number 24, starting P3. But in the championship fight, the 2 drivers really in the middle of the scrap here for Indy Lights this year. Just 11 points separate these drivers coming into this weekend. And again, double header here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Then we go to Portland, then to Laguna Seca, then to Mid-Ohio. So that means that we're ready to dial things in here right now with the 2 drivers up front, David Malukas and Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle Kirkwood, the number 28, going to be starting on the off pole. He'll be pole tomorrow, though. Kirkwood in the Road to Indy scholarship car, having won in the Indy Pro 2000 championship back in 2019. The number 28 starting from the off pole, 159.214 miles per hour. And then the driver on the pole position right now will be David Malukas out of Chicago, Illinois. Malukas in that number 79 machine, set to go from pole, 159.390 miles per hour, the pole time. And again, those drivers will swap the top spot tomorrow for race number 2. Same time, though, 5:30 scheduled green flag for Indy Lights race number 2. And again, a very crucial time. We're just a little over a minute away from getting these drivers to fire things up to begin what will be the first wheel-to-wheel action of this amazing weekend here at this fantastic racetrack. Again, 1.25 miles. You can see the field set. Grid very packed with crew members. Got a lot of fans here as well. Saw John Bomarito down there. Of course, the sponsor of the Bomarito Automotive Group. Ready to go IndyCar racing, ready to go NASCAR racing, and of course, ready to go Road to Indy racing as well. Malukas and Kirkwood on row 1. Peterson and Lundqvist on row 2. Frost and McGinnis on row 3. DeFrancesco and Sabri row 4. Perrone and Robb row 5. And Bogle and Saravalli on row number 6. So just about a minute away before we light things up. Every one of these drivers set to go for the first oval race in 2 years in the Indy Lights program. Of course, Lights on a hiatus through all of 2020, so you got to go all the way back to that great battle here in 2019. And we have most definitely made a home here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Track fantastic for Indy Lights competition. Tough to go too wide, but we saw both Ryan Norman and Colton Herta do it for lap after lap after lap. Driver from behind has to get that draft, has to make the move to the inside, a real commitment corner in turn 3. And again, lining up for what should be a great race. 2 races, of course. Drivers may be a little tender today, not wanting to wreck a car for tomorrow, but otherwise, they've got to go at it. Championship up for grabs. You can never leave points out on the track. Folks, down to pit lane right now for the call to fire from Blake Bomarito.
On behalf of the Bomarito Automotive Group and Bomarito.com, where Price sells cars, welcome to Worldwide Raceway and the Indy Lights Series. Drivers, start your engines.
And with that, engines coming to life down on pit lane, firing things up for what will be a 75-lap event here, the first of 2 races here this weekend. And let's bring in my good friend Steve Wittick from TSOladder.com and Trackside Online. Steve, it's been 2 years since we went oval track racing. You know how much fun we have on ovals. So many rookies with no oval experience, not even an Indy Pro. This can make for a very interesting day.
Yeah, Rob, it is. It's really good to be back in an oval, especially at Worldwide Technology Raceway here. Like you said, it's just a fantastic track for Indy Lights, for any race car. But Indy Lights seems to work really well here with the power level, with the downforce levels here, with the 2 different corners. You know, you talk to the drivers. Turn 3 and 4 is so important and so sketchy. If you're out front and you need to be pretty much flat in that corner.
It's crazy.
And if you're following, it's not going to be easy to be flat because you get that turbo wake or that aero wake, and the front end will wash out, and you know you'll ride up to the turn 4 wall,
That's
and
it, right?
you know, then you've got it. Then it's all in the driver's hands on who can catch it.
Drivers peeling away from pit lane right now. We'll say hello to those of you watching on the different avenues throughout the country and around the world. Of course, IndyCar Radio on Sirius XM, Rev TV up in Canada, and I know many of you tuning in to the Race's YouTube channel as well. We hope you enjoy the coverage here. Just finally got the cameras up and running. Didn't have it for qualifying earlier today, but IMS Productions getting things dialed in. And here's a good look at these drivers coming down the back straightaway. Out of that banking of turn number 2, 11-degree banking, turn 1 and 2, but a lot tighter than 3 and 4, which goes down to 9 degrees worth of banking. You can see the difference as they come through the corners. And again, this is going to be an interesting race. I think the start, of course, Steve, very crucial, especially with Kirkwood and Malukas side by side. I wonder whether Malukas will be able to run that high side. If he gets a good enough jump, we may see maybe some side-by-side racing for the first couple of laps.
Yeah, I would expect them to be side-by-side for at least the first lap, if not the first 2 laps. It's just, you know, the track. These guys have been here quite a bit recently. They had a big test here a couple weeks ago. Then they had a test yesterday. They were running all day today. So the track does have some Cooper rubber down. So it should be really exciting to watch that first few laps. And then we'll watch for them to get sort of settled in and get into a rhythm, and then, you know, the guys near the back will start picking it off.
And again, we do have a bit of a gap between speed-wise from front to back. A couple of drivers a little further back with less experience, 4 or 5 miles an hour difference. They were closer, I think, in testing, but just that, as you said, so tough in qualifying, right, to get things dialed in with just those 2 laps. Field now lining up, folks. It's time to go racing here with Indy Lights. Back to oval racing here with the top rung of the road to Indy. Let's see what happens as they come out of the corner. Tony Kottman, the race director, going to give them the green. Looking good coming onto the front straightaway. And folks, we're at it. Green, green, green. A Worldwide Technology Raceway racing into turn number 1. Settling in. Look at that move to the bottom of the racetrack. The 2 Global Racing Group drivers side by side. Kirkwood slotting nicely in behind Malukas. So an opening start here clean. Trying to get out of that opening set of corners 1 and 2, but the global drivers still side by side. Linus Lundqvist trying to pinch Peterson down to the bottom. Peterson still holding that bottom of the racetrack, trying to leverage that P3 starting spot. We'll be on board with Peterson here, Benjamin Peterson, throughout the day with our onboard camera. He's holding the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Kyle Kirkwood, though. He'll try to the top of the racetrack as Malukas staying to the bottom. Kirkwood way to the top, trying to see if he can. Oh, Kirkwood almost loses it. Kirkwood lost the rear end through turn number 2, and look how much drive he has lost. Peterson trying to get the run on him, and he's going to go to second. I believe that's Peterson indeed up into the second spot, or is that? I wonder if that's Peterson or Lundqvist.
Looks like Lundqvist.
It might have been Linus Lundqvist, indeed. He was the driver P3. Those cars almost exactly with the same livery. Steve, let's come to you real quick. What do you think about that?
You see what happens there when you get in the wake of the car in front of you. Kirkwood just got a little bit in behind, too close in behind Malukas there, and the car just washed right out. He did a good job to keep it off the wall, but he'll have to gather it back in. It's going to take a while to get that confidence back.
Yeah, am I thinking about that? Obviously, got into the corner, the thing started to rotate. It's not like you had the aero wash when the car wanted to push up the racetrack. It's like it lost all aero, and he was maybe trying to push too hard on the colder tires. That thing was sideways, and any lesser driver may have been in the wall. He was completely sideways coming out of 2.
Yeah, that was a heck of a save. And, you know, we've seen that here a few times on the IndyCar side, but on the light side, that's a new one. But it was we all know Kyle Kirkwood's an awfully talented driver, and you expect to see him in IndyCar next year, and that was a heck of a save, and he'll be able to gather it back up here. And he's had some experience here in Indy Pro 2000 where he drove from the back of the field to the front and got a win there. But Dave Malukas right now has pulled out to a nice lead, just kind of settling in. His engineer will be telling them, just keep it simple and definitely keep your tires under you, especially with the heat today. It's going to be important that near the end of the race, especially when you come up on some lap traffic, that your tires are still good.
Yeah, because when you do hit lap traffic, you're going to have to go to the high side. Let's have a look at the replay here. Look at Kyle Kirkwood. Midway through the corner,
wow.
The rear end starts to break loose on him. That is a ton of extra steering. He's got the input on the car and got off the throttle. Expert car control for Kyle Kirkwood kept him out of the wall and kept his championship standing in position. But I'll say this, Steve, with the level of competition in this particular series, sometimes all it takes, especially on the oval, is one minor mistake like that. Kirkwood was all over, was thinking about trying to go over the lid. I think he was probably trying to put the wheel in to pinch him on the exit to get down on the bottom. That the car just asking a little too much out of the tires. But is that mistake, has that allowed Malukas to just check out and be gone?
Yeah, it really has, and it's also allowed Linus Lundqvist, the other championship contender, to get in front of Kirkwood. So that's going to tighten things up if it stays like this. And you have to wonder, did did Kirkwood damage his tires there? You know, that's a pretty big slide on those tires. I know it's early in the race, but you could see Benjamin Pedersen's right there too. So, you know, Kirkwood's going to have a bit of a challenge here.
Just 7 laps to do a 75 lapper around this 1.25 mile racetrack. Again, Rob Howard alongside Steve Whittick here in the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center. One of the things we'll watch on our live timing here is the points as they run. David Malukas running on the racetrack now will take over the point lead from Kyle Kirkwood. Lundqvist closing up as well, but Malukas, with the big difference in points that are available on the oval as opposed to the points available on a road course or street circuit event, the difference between first and second is larger. So this has allowed actually Malukas to go to P1. And you think about that, Kirkwood came in with a winning 5 out of the last 6. Could have been 6 out of the last 6 if not for a mechanical at Road America. This is big for Malukas, I think, to come back momentum-wise and confidence-wise.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, he'll start second tomorrow, so he knows he's got a bit of a deficit tomorrow, starting on that a little bit less optimal outside line for race 2 tomorrow. So getting a win today would be huge for his confidence. And, you know, shout out to Linus Lundqvist. This is his first ever oval race, and he's running with 2 guys that have a lot of Road to Indy experience on ovals, and Malukas has pulled out to a 1.9 second lead, but you know, Lundqvist is there, and he's got a full second, 1.1 seconds or so over Kirkwood.
I like the line you said about potentially watching tire wear, because as you said, when you get out to the lead like this, 1.9 seconds, that's where you can kind of step off a bit and maybe manage it. Now, backing off, sometimes you're not going 100%. You make a mistake when you back off a little bit. These cars love the downforce. Obviously, they want to run quick. But Malukas being out front right now, I think when we do eventually get into lap traffic, Christian Bogle now 14 seconds back, we're going to see lap traffic. They're going to have to time it. This is where strategy plays. This is where your racecraft will play. Timing coming off a corner to make sure you make that pass on the straightaway, as opposed to potentially having to go to the high side in one of the corners here.
Yeah, it is really important to time it. If you watch Malukas' line here, he's not running the very bottom of the racetrack in both ends. You know, he's coming into 1 and 2 here, and you just watch. He's about a half car length above the bottom of the racetrack, which just a little bit easier on the tires, a little bit longer way around the track, but just that little bit easier on the tires. I'm sure his engineers on the radio telling him that, you know, make sure you save those tires, whether it's to get around lap traffic later in the race or a late race restart. You're going to want every bit of that tire as you can get.
Toby Sauer with the big move, starting back in the 8th position, got up to P6. So right now just about a second behind Robert McGinnis. We'll see whether or not Sauer can get himself up another spot, potentially into the top 5. Sauer was not super happy with the qualifying effort, but will try to do what he can to race himself back forward against Sauer coming in as they run on the racetrack right now in the 4th spot with Daniel Frost breezing down his throat a little bit. Daniel Frost currently running back in 9th position. So Frost, who started up in 5th, falling back to 9th. Not a good opening lap for the Singapore driver. Rookie in the Indy Lights program, expecting to see him back next year. And Steve, I'm sure you and I could spend the entire race talking about some of the silly season stuff.
I'm sure we could.
Some of it's IndyCar, because a number of these drivers potentially thinking about, well, let's say a number, 2, maybe 3, but probably 2, looking at potentially getting up into IndyCar next year. We've heard rumors about Kyle Kirkwood, rumors about David Malukas. One of them's going to go with $1.25 million scholarship, but a lot of action around Indy Lights. Talking to the Andretti crew, there's a lot of people that want to be an Andretti driver next year. Same with HMD Motorsports.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting silly season for IndyCar and Indy Lights and all of the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. To be honest with you, there's a lot of interest in this all of the IndyCar-based series right now worldwide, and whether it's, you know, there's a lot of, I've had a number of messages from European drivers sort of getting a feeling for what the series is like and what to expect. And yeah, I think you'll see a bunch of guys come over from overseas. You know, adding the halo this year has been huge for Indy Lights. It's been just added another element of safety that the team owners can sell to the European drivers that isn't on all the cars over there.
Had a good look there. Robert McGinnis running around in that Sirius sail point machine. Robert McGinnis there crossing the line and currently in the 5th spot. This could be a battle here for 6 and 7. They talked about Sauer potentially trying to close back up on McGinnis. Looks more like it's going to be a challenge from behind on Sauer's Devlin DiFrancesco trying to go quicker, but a half a mile an hour faster last time by. You can see DiFrancesco now in the draft as they work their way down the back straightaway. 16 laps in the books of a 75 lapper here, and DiFrancesco getting his first feel being in that draft here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, especially in the Indy Lights car. Remember, he led from the pole last year in Worldwide here when we ran in Indy Pro 2000, so let's be real, he really hasn't been in a draft hardly at all at speed.
No, he really hasn't. So it's a totally new feeling for him, especially in this car. A little bit less downforce per power than the Indy Pro 2000 car. And yeah, he's coming out. He's pulling up nicely there. You watch him. Yeah, he's just running a little bit lower line than Sowery there to try and get a little bit of air on that wing. But you saw there he got a little bit close and started to wash up at the exit, at the apex of 4. So he's going to have to figure out a way to get a little bit more clean air on that front wing to keep the front end pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, this time Sowery a little bit quicker that last time by. Trouble for Stingray Raw in that number 2 machine for Hunko's Hollinger Racing as he has pulled the Dallara IL-15 down to pit lane. So an issue here for Stingray, last year's Indy Pro 2000 champion. He was a podium finisher, I believe, here last year. Rolls it to a crawl down pit lane here, Steve. I'm trying to have a quick look at the car itself, and I don't see. I'll let you have a look when he comes by, whether there's any kind of damage whatsoever, but still watching this battle between Toby Sowery and Devlin DeFrancesco. That's for P6.
Yeah, it doesn't look like if we'd see anything, we'd probably see it on the outside on the outside of the tires there, and it looks like the Cooper lettering's still on. He's awfully slow. Maybe that almost looks like some sort of power issue. And it looks like the team's going to work to get the rear engine cover off.
So that'll be it for Stingray Raw. Move him down to the tail of the field. Stingray qualified in the 10th position and will be officially classified here unless he gets back on the racetrack at the 12th spot. Devlin DeFrancesco. I was told it's even a more yellow than it was before, Steve. I'm a little bit on the color deficient side. It's still pretty vibrant. It's a car I get to see, but cool to see them. They've been signing a lot of different sponsors, PowerTap being one throughout the season. This weekend bringing on Jones Soda as well out of Washington. So they're really lining up the partners on Devlin DeFrancesco. He's a guy that could potentially be moving into IndyCar as well next year. It's an interesting thought. You never know what happens. I know that they've talked about it. I've spoken with Devlin. I talked to his management crew. He may be back in Indy Lights. He may be in IndyCar, but that's somewhere he will eventually get to, I believe.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's headed to IndyCar, and like you said, it's, could he use another year here? Yeah, probably. I think so, yeah. Just to learn a little bit more, and, he's with the right team to learn, and, could he move up and be okay? Yeah, of course he could.
I want race wins.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm kind of of the same mind as you. I like to see a driver get a race win before he moves up at the lights level. And who knows? Might come. He's still got what, 8 races left this season. So yeah, he could still pull off a win here. But yeah, Malukas still just sort of holding that lead steady. Last lap, Lundqvist was a little bit quicker, which is, the best, actually 0.8 of a second quicker. So
what I find interesting there is a 157.2 mile per hour best speed for Malukas. He's about a mile per hour off, where Lundqvist behind him, very close. He's not letting off the throttle at all on that chase right? He's made up about 0.8 of a mile per hour that last time by, so he is definitely closing up here. But again, Malukas, it looks like he's just breathed off the throttle a little bit, take care of the car, take care of the tires, manage that 2-second lead.
Yeah, and again, that lap, is a 1.2 mile per hour difference for Lundqvist being quicker than Malukas. So just sort of eking it out there, but we don't know what Lundqvist is doing. He might be, or Malukas is doing. He's probably just trying to hold on to those tires. And as we get here, DeFrancesco is looking to make a move on Sowery.
Yeah, DeFrancesco as close as he's been. Driver slowing on the front straightaway as well, folks. Indeed, that's the 11 of Antonio Serravalle. And looks like a potential issue with the tire here on the right front. Not sure what's going to... Now, this could bring out the yellow flag because he's down to the bottom of the racetrack. And he will be able to pull back in. So, no, we may be able to stay green as he does a good job getting to the outside of the racetrack there, to the inside, rather, just past the pit wall and ducks into pit lane. At this point, staying green on the racetrack, but an issue for Serravalle. Watching this scrap. This is Malukas making the move to the inside of Christian Bogle. So there's our first issue of lap traffic, and good job for Bogle staying out of the way, but look how close Lundqvist is right now. Big run down the back straightaway for Lundqvist. He'll tuck to the bottom, and nice job for Christian Bogle staying high side on the racetrack.
Yeah, Bogle's done a really good job this year of just getting better and better each session. He's not got a lot of years in cars. He's got a lot of races under his belt recently, but not a lot of years in cars, and he just keeps getting better and better each session. And I talked to the Carlin guys today, and they've been really happy with his progress every race. And I talked to Stephanie Carlin a little bit this afternoon, and expect those guys to be back with at least a 2-car program. Again, a lot of interest from European drivers in Indy Lights, and expect them back in IndyCar too. They've been talking about a 2-car program there too.
That's exciting. Well, I'll say this right now about Christian Bogle. Of course, a guy that ran USF 2000, jumped over Indy Pro to come to Indy Lights. A lot of drivers, people said, hey, maybe he's not qualified. Another driver off the track, folks, Toby Sowery. Let's just jump into this real quick as we're looking at here. Sowery's gone off the racetrack. That's coming out of turn number 2, I believe, to the inside of the track. I don't see any damage on the race car. Okay, so potentially a blown tire. I'm getting a lot of updates here. Blown tire potentially for Serravalle. Let's have a replay of Sowery's down to the bottom of the track. So there's
just pulls off.
Yeah, he's pulled off. And I literally just got an update from one of the guys from the team over. No, look at the damage here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
there's damage. Did he get into it with somebody? We had a yellow flag on the track.
Okay. So caution flag on the racetrack here. 47 laps remaining. And indeed, an issue for Toby Sowery. It looked like he had just pulled off the inside of the racetrack, but no. Damage to the left front there. You can see that left front tire was askew. We're not able to see it. This is the right front of the race car, but the number 51 of Sowery off. This is going to jumble things up further back and press the reset button for both Linus Lundqvist and Kyle Kirkwood to potentially battle once again. Damage to the right front. I will give you an update hearing from Juncos Racing. The car of Stingray Rob stuck in 4th gear. And the engine quit on him because they do downshift in, but we haven't talked about this. They do downshift between 1 and 2 to get back on the throttle. So this is both Juncos cars off the racetrack, the Juncos Hollinger racing team. There's Ricardo right there looking up at the screen, and of course, not the way he wanted this day to go. He'll get a chance to come back and do it tomorrow. If at least there's that for the team, but they really haven't had the year that they're used to having.
No, they really haven't. It's a little bit of a surprise for those guys. I know they lost a few guys on the technical team, which definitely hurts, and but, we expected a little bit more pace out of those guys. Sowery's an extremely experienced race car driver, absolute pro. And, Stinger and Rob, we've used to seen a lot more pace out of him than what's been there. So, they've been digging away on it. And you look at Sowery there taking a look on the right front.
Yeah, indeed, Steve. Sowery himself having a good look through. We'll get another look at it here. Trying to get a shot. You can see that it looks like it's probably going to be the toe link.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And so you can see that car, the wheel just wiggling back and forth. So likely a rod end failure potentially. I'm not seeing anything broken or bent. So potentially a rod end failure on the toe link. That'll be it for him. You wonder whether or not he got to the bottom of the racetrack and potentially hit one of the curbs, because we've seen a lot of drivers get pretty aggressive on the exit turn 2, get down on the curbing.
I was going to mention that the curbing here is pretty aggressive, and if you get on it, you can damage the car, or worse yet, spin very easily. But yeah, he might have got down on the on those. They're almost like rumble strips, right? And they're pretty aggressive.
They are.
Yeah.
AMR IndyCar safety crew bringing the number 11 of Antonio Serravalle. He stayed in the car. The issue there with the right front tire, lost the tire there. So I don't think they'll be able to get him back and put the tire back on. If indeed they're able to do that, he would be able to go back out onto the racetrack. He's only lost 3 laps, and he could probably get a couple more laps if he wanted, but more likely that he'll just park that car. HMD crew, or rather actually that's the HMD crew going up to talk to Antonio there just to see what he wants to do. They obviously don't want him right there in front of the paddock and their pit lanes. So, Steve, we got a little action here. 28 laps in. We're now 31 laps in with 44 laps remaining. Let's reset the order here. David DeLucas is your leader. Linus Lundqvist in second. Everything happened when Kyle Kirkwood almost lost it in the exit turn number 2. Looks to me like he was trying to get that pinch down, maybe get some wheel into it, try to get the car to come off the bottom of the racetrack to get the run down the straightaway. He had a good run on the front straight. Kirkwood still is in 3rd spot. Benjamin Peterson in 4th. Robert McGinnis 5th. Devlin DiFrancesco, who had been putting the pressure on Toby Sowery, inherits 6th with Sowery's retirement. Alex Perrone now up into the 7th spot. Daniel Frost in 8th. Christian Bogle in 9th. Stingray Rob out with some engine and gearbox issues. Serravalle with the tire issue, and Sowery, as we said, looked like a potential toe link rod end or something happened to that Juncos Hollinger racing car. Both of the Juncos Hollinger cars now on the sidelines.
Yeah, that's tough to see for that team who just got an influxation or an injection of life from Brad Hollinger, who has a lot of experience in racing. Was part of the Williams F1 team in part of the ownership group there in Europe. So he came on board, and looks like they're bringing a tire out here for Antonio. So looks like they'll get that on there and hopefully get him back out and just good opportunity to turn laps. I expect to see him back another year, and just a great opportunity to get some more experience.
Yeah, that team hustling their way up there, the Passero Racing team. You can see the issue there. They're getting the car of Toby Sauer back up on the hauler to bring him out there nice and easy as he pulled off right in the right direction. They've been able to get the fresh rubber on the car of Serravalle, so he'll head back out. So again, for a driver like Antonio Serravalle, who has limited starts in the road to Indy, making the jump up into the Indy Lights program, Dad owns the team, already has talked about potentially adding a second car to try to have another stream of data, a partner, and a teammate for him next year. It's a smaller team, family-run team. Getting a bunch of different guys from the industry to come and be part of it. But Mark Moore, former team owner here at Indy Lights, engineering the car. You can talk a little more. I know you know Mark and what he's done over the years.
Yeah, Mark had an Indy Lights team for a long time. Very, very successful Indy Lights team. Won a bunch of races with guys like James Hinchcliffe and Gustavo Jacobin, and it's been 7 or 8 years since he's been super involved with the sport, but it's good to have him back. He's really experienced, and he's a good guy to have around because he's been a team owner, and he pretty good engineer too.
And for a young team like that, literally he can come in and be kind of a consultant. Right, fix this, change this, let's look at this. We could probably update this. Here's the baseline setup. Because I'm going to say, very much like Christian Bogle coming in with not a lot of experience, Christian's been really steady. He's had a couple spins here and there, but nothing major. He's been really smart, making a lot of seat time. Same thing for Antonio. He's probably punched above his weight class a couple times. I think
for sure.
A top finish, I believe 6. I think he finished at Road American one of the races.
Yeah, no, it's been an impressive run by that group, especially family-run team, and coming from Canada isn't obviously that coming back and forth isn't the easiest thing, and so it is interesting. And we see them doing a little sweeping there on the outside of the turn, so that'll open up that outside of 1 and 2 for somebody. But it looks like the pace car's coming in here.
Indeed, we're going to go back to racing here, folks. 41 laps. It'll be 40 laps remaining when they come back around. This will be the opportunity. We'll go right on board here with Benjamin Peterson, Benjamin P4. See what he's able to do. He's actually got the lap car of Bogle in front of him. Bogle, I would expect, would go to the high side, let them come down the straightaway, but Malukas is going to line them up. Look at this. They're all ready to go. Malukas keeping the car slow. They're punching off, and away we go. Peterson's go to the bottom of Bogle to try to get that run out of the corner, but this could be the opportunity for Kyle Kirkwood. You can see all the way down to the bottom goes Lundqvist. Lundqvist to the bottom, Kirkwood to the top. Let's see if he's able to hold it this time. Really hard to work that top line. Again, all about getting a better run out of the corner, getting that drive down the back straight. Touch the wall. Kirkwood tagging the wall there, coming out of turn number 2. Little touch on the left rear tire. Let's see what that does coming down into turn number 3. Any damage potentially left rear here? I think he's a bit slower.
Yeah, it looks like it.
He's got damage.
Got some problem.
He's got damage. So I think Kirkwood is going to pull down. Let's see. He's got Peterson closing up. I don't know whether or not it's damage or whether he's trying to feel it out right now, but that was significant contact as he tried to hold the outside of that corner, thinking about getting that run again. So 2 uncharacteristic mistakes for Kyle Kirkwood out of turn number 2.
Yeah, very, very, very unusual to see Kyle make mistakes.
Let's have a look at the replay here. Again, Kirkwood had the high side. You can see him trying to stay out there. Car just got away on him.
Well, I don't know if he hit the wall there.
I don't know that he hit the wall.
Wow.
He is right there with him. Let's have another close look, folks. I think we all figured it did.
Oh, I don't think he did.
Maybe a whisker?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but not, again, fantastic car control by Kyle.
And the crazy thing was when he came back down through turn number 3, he checked up big time. You got to think maybe wondering whether or not there was damage or not. That I don't think I've seen it that close in a long time.
No, you could see him get close enough that the dust came up between the wall and the tire.
And almost the car jerked back because he had the wheel in it at that point.
Yeah, but it looks like he missed it. So another close call for Kirkwood in turn 2.
But a tough one for Kyle. Here him coming back across. He actually got into the back.
There we go.
He got into the back of Lundqvist, and there's the damage to the front nose on the 28 of Kirkwood. He had such a good run coming out of the corner. Even losing it there, he was able to get that run and get that draft, and still probably trying to save the car a little bit. Still coming back across the racetrack, makes contact with Lundqvist, and the opportunity to potentially go to second, and the challenge back for P1 is now gone for Kyle Kirkwood.
Yeah, and that's going to, it's not the most aero-dependent track, but that it won't make it easy for him to tow up along the front straight. Yeah, you can see it looks like there's a little bit of damage on the front wing too, and you have to wonder what that did to the front wing's a little askew there. But you have to wonder what that did to the diffuser on Lundqvist's car, too.
Indeed. So some action there for P2, and maybe this could benefit Benjamin Peterson in the number 24. Will he be able to close up potentially on Kyle Kirkwood? Truly the benefactor is David Malukas, able to defend off a restart. Now 35 laps to go. He's out to a 7/7 of a second lead once again. Everybody behind getting super anxious on that replay, and maybe a little more patience could have helped. I think Malukas stacking him up coming out of 4 at the restart kind of helped that a bit. He really brought Kirkwood right where he wanted to be, in behind Lundqvist.
Yeah, he really did, and kudos to David on that restart. He played that out perfectly, where he got the jump, and kind of guys behind him got a little bit stacked up, and that definitely benefited him here, obviously. And behind them, we missed a good battle between McGuinness and DeFrancesco. DeFrancesco has pulled away a little bit from McGuinness, but's moved up to 5th.
Nicely done for Devlin DeFrancesco. Drivers kind of settling in here. No real battles on the racetrack at this time here. We'll keep our eyes on it as well. Steve Wittick from Trackside Online and TSOladder.com joining me in the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center. And Steve, let's talk about the newest team to announce in Indy Lights, TJ Speed. Tim Neff, veteran driver, engineer, worked for IndyCar teams, Indy Lights teams. He picks up all the Belardi Auto Racing assets, takes over the shop, in fact, but they finally broke cover with the TJ Speed car at Autobahn this past week. Nice to add a 2-car team to the program next year.
Yeah, especially someone like Tim Neff, who long time at Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports, and actually, I think partial team owner in the Lights team there, and he's awfully good engineer, and it'll be interesting to see how he does as a team owner. But I think he's got some financial backing behind him, which will really help, and it'll be interesting to see what he ends up with driver-wise. I think Tim's good with young guys and veterans, so it'll be interesting to see what he ends up with driver-wise. If you're a driver looking, it's definitely, I know it's a new team, but you're looking at somebody who's run Indy Lights his entire life. So
that's it.
Yeah, and you look here, Lundqvist is definitely sticking him right with Malukas. It's, he's right there, and Kirkwood's dropping back just a little bit. It looks like Kirkwood's car is starting to lose a little bit of the handle with that, possibly with the front, with the wing damage.
Yeah, you wonder if the wing damage is significant enough where he's really having to put more input, maybe wearing those front tires a little bit, right? That would be my issue if indeed hurt the wing at all. Of course, the puncture in the front of the nose cone is not going to be helping.
You can see him running really wide there at the exit of 2.
Again, trying to see it's hard to see if there is actual damage. It looks like he may have lost one of the wing plates.
Yeah, and it looks like it's just a little bit off center or askew towards the tire, back towards the tire a little bit there. Looks like a little bit of damage, but yeah, he's kind of dropping back a little bit from Malukas and Lundqvist, but Lundqvist still within a second of Malukas. This is definitely not over yet. And talk about a good day right now for HMD and Global Racing Group.
Yeah, indeed that. And what this will do as well for Kyle Kirkwood, who was the championship leader coming in by 11 points, he's dropped down a couple of points here as well. As Malukas, as they run on the racetrack, will take over the point lead. This is going to light a fire for Kyle Kirkwood. His saving grace right now, Steve Wittick, is he's going to start in the pole position tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice thing. I think I've gone back, and I think this is the first time we've had a doubleheader on an oval in Indy Lights. We're used to double headers on road courses and street courses, but on the oval it's not. And I think I figured out about 17% of the points available in the season are available in these 2 races. So it's a lot more than a normal race weekend, and that for a driver like Kirkwood, that matters.
Indeed it does. And again, talking about this stretch run as well after we leave here. Doubleheader at Portland, doubleheader at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, doubleheader at the season finale on the first weekend of October at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Still lots of racing to come, and $1.25 million to scholarship that will go to the champion. And when we cap off this season, like we said, 2-3 drivers all thinking about potentially making a move to IndyCar next year. A lot of drivers coming back to Indy Lights, some more interest from overseas. Even Tim Neff mentioned that it's a possibility that he may have Kiffin Simpson in the car next year. They tested, and he was the driver of the test. He also runs for him in the FRA series, but he also said he's got some interest from overseas, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, no, I definitely find that very interesting. Those F3 fields and Formula Regional fields over in Europe right now are pretty good size, and that's the level that's going to be moving up to Indy Lights. And we're again here, and take a look at Perrone here, taking a look at McGuinness.
We'll keep an eye on this. Let's key on this right now. This is Alex Perrone, 10th last year in the FIA Formula 3 program. You can see he lost a little bit there mid-corner, getting pretty close up to Robert McGinnis. But the Carlin driver, Alex Perrone, who just received the Peter Brock Award, actually. I know you were potentially down there for that. Putting some pressure here on Robert McGinnis for P6.
Yeah, and it's Perrone's first oval start here as well. You know, some of these oval rookies are awfully impressive. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. You know, a lot of guys, you know, it'll be interesting to see. We've got NTT IndyCar Series. We've got a guy like Roman Grosjean making his oval debut this weekend. But, you know, Perrone's running ahead of a guy like Daniel Frost, who's won on an oval in the Road to Indy. So, you know, very impressive run. I know those guys aren't happy with what they've, you know, the pace they've had all year, but they missed a year. Carlin missed a year, and that definitely hurts. But, you know, Perrone's going to learn here, and I bet you he comes out stronger tomorrow because he's going to know what to expect on the oval, running behind another car.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Alex Perrone. Had a chance to interview him in the offseason. Just a really charismatic young man. Obviously has all the talent that we know. Had a pretty bad wreck at Monza, I believe, and was able to come back from that. And really has been impressive. Carlin, of course, not happy, of course, with what they've got. They're used to winning races, but you said they missed a season, so they got to kind of play a bit of catch-up right now. Low on the racetrack right there.
Really low, but look at the run he got off of turn 2 there.
It's flirting with disaster when you go down there. You're obviously making the track a lot shorter, but running down there, you get into those rumbles and it can upset the race car. But you're right, got a good run there on Robert McGinnis. Let's see if he closes up.
Here off of 4 too.
Steve, you got to be in the right. If you're too close coming through the corner, you get the aero wash. You got to be just close enough that you can get the run, and then potentially pressure the driver in front of you into that mistake. Again, way down to the bottom of the racetrack for the Carlin driver, Alex Perrone. We'll say hello to all of his Australian friends and family and race fans down under who tune into the broadcast here on the Race's YouTube channel. Thrilled to be working with the race this year. Really has been given us the opportunity to extend Indy Lights and the coverage to
and it's really fantastic to have the coverage worldwide through the race. And, you know, I was down there when he was awarded the Peter Brock Award, and Will Power was there and gave him that award, and you could tell those two had a pretty good conversation, just sort of about oval racing. Almost, it looked like more than anything, because, you know, that's obviously Perrone's first go, and, you know, no, it was good, and it was fun to watch those guys interact. It's really cool to see the IndyCar drivers interact with the Indy Lights guys, because it means a lot to the Indy Lights guys to be able to learn from the guys who've done it.
Really good experience for Alex Perrone right now. Remember, McGinnis, second-year driver in this program here, came all through the entire Road to Indy as well. So he's run Lucas Oil Raceway.
Close here going into 3.
Here comes Perrone looking at the bottom of the racetrack into turn number 3. Perrone down to the bottom. Book it. He'll take the spot.
Oh, McGinnis. Issue here for McGinnis, running high and slow.
Yeah, Robert McGinnis wasn't really an aggressive move pass. It was actually potentially McGinnis with an issue. The 27 coming down to the bottom of the racetrack. Perrone did go to the bottom. I thought it was a pass. Looks like McGinnis was potentially just off the throttle. Steve, you had a look. Your thoughts?
Looks like right front tire issues again for McGinnis there. Looks like there's a little bit of rubber flopping around on the front there. Else we'll see if he comes in on the pits. But no, maybe not. That was very strange.
Here comes the leader, Malukas, as well. Going to split between McGinnis. He's going to go back around Bogle again. David Malukas working his way by Christian Bogle. Still the leader by almost a full second now over Linus Lundqvist. But again, the issue for Robert McGinnis, he'll head to pit lane. And that's going to move a couple of drivers up further. And Antonio Saravalli get another spot as he remains on the racetrack. So right now we've lost Robert McGinnis. And indeed, looks like an issue with the right front there on McGinnis. Coming up there, you can see he slowed a little bit, and into the inside goes the Carlin driver, Perrone. There's the replay of the issue. He decided to check out of it. Some kind of an issue with the right front. This track very punishing on right side tires, and
a yellow flag.
We do indeed have a yellow flag onto the racetrack right now. Driver in the wall, the 26 of Lundqvist.
Wow.
Linus Lundqvist has put it in the wall in the 59th lap. That is over in turn number 4, coming out of 3 and 4. Lundqvist in the 26 loses the car heading into the turn 3 corner. We'll of course see a replay.
Not happy.
AMR IndyCar safety team coming in quickly, and as Steve said, he was not a happy man at all. You can see the damage to the right side of the car. AMR safety crew on the scene very quickly to make sure that Linus is fine. But again, as Steve had said, not happy at all when the camera quickly got onto him there. That's an issue here. 58 laps in, 16 laps remaining. Press the reset button once again for David Malukas. We'll see how quickly they can get this cleaned up. And potentially another opportunity, Steve, for Kyle Kirkwood. You wonder whether or not he just missed the entry, or was that trying to get around lap traffic?
Yeah, it's a good question because we just seen the leader, Malukas, pass Bogle lap traffic. So, you have to wonder if maybe Lundqvist was in lap traffic, or, he is also an oval rookie, and if he just lets, here we go with the replay.
We'll have a look at the replay right now. You can see right down to the bottom of the racetrack, he literally loses it potentially coming into the corner there. Not much of a replay, but you can see there he is going up to the top of the racetrack, so it wasn't definitely not lap traffic. He had already gotten by Christian Bogle. I'd love to see that replay again if we possibly could. I'm sure they'll run that through one more time. But an issue again, coming down into turn number 3. Looked to me like the car got squirrely coming into the entry as he tried to turn into the corner.
Yeah, it did, and it's, we're going to have to take a look at those replays again and see exactly what happened there. But yeah, very unusual for Lundqvist to make a mistake, but oval rookie, so we're going to have to just wait and see if we get a little bit more of a replay here. It's a weird spot to lose it, look at it that way.
So David Malukas in the number 79 HMD Motorsports car, your leader. That is going to move Kyle Kirkwood back into the second spot, so benefit for Kirkwood. In fact, that puts him back to P1 in the championship as well. He had gone down 3 points, now he's back up 2 points. So Steve, any additional thoughts right now at this point?
No, I would not want to be David Malukas right now. I'm sure he's was not happy with that. He kind of built out to, a comfortable lead, not a big lead, but a comfortable lead. So, we know Kyle Kirkwood's gonna go for it here because that's Kyle's style, and obviously they'll be on the radio telling him, he's back in the points lead, but to grab that extra few points, and then we'll get some, looks like some rubber on the track.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a full track inspection from the AMR safety crew to pick up whatever may have happened. Here's your shot here of the spotters where they get to watch the race high above the track here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And again, spotters crucial to the drivers working through lap cars, battling it out, whatever it may be. You can see down there in the essentially through turns 3 and 4, the incident involving Linus Lundqvist. Tough way, Steve, to end your first oval experience, especially while running P2. He doing really everything you would ever wanted out of him to run second in his first time here at this particular racetrack. Ending up in the wall, though, will kind of give you a little sour taste going into tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely it will. It had a really good run going as an oval rookie, but you know what they say, Rob, if you're going to hit the wall at some point on an oval, and unfortunately he got that out of the way in his first oval. He'll kind of know what to expect next time, but yeah, it's a pretty good hit. So the Global Racing Group team will have some work to get done overnight before he can get back on track tomorrow, but he'll have a chance to get in the warm-up and get the car settled.
I was just going to say that warm-up tomorrow morning is going to be very crucial for him. A number of drivers maybe weren't too crazy about it, but he'll be most definitely looking to be jumping in there. That's going to move. So let's press the reset. We'll restack them for you here as they continue to work on getting the car of Lundqvist off. David Malukas has led from the get-go, holding off the pressures of Kyle Kirkwood at the start and holding the lead through now a couple of yellow flag periods. Kyle Kirkwood running in second, the young American for Andretti Autosport in the 28th, now moving back to the point lead as they run on the racetrack, having lost 3 points, been down 3 points at one point. He is second. Benjamin Peterson now up into third. Devlin DiFrancesco. It's been a good advance for Devlin DiFrancesco. Started 7th. Yeah, there has been some attrition, but DiFrancesco up into 4th. He may be a guy to look at fighting for Peterson for the podium as well. Alex Perrone now in 5th. Daniel Frost 6th. Robert McGinnis up into 7th spot. McGinnis potentially back out onto the racetrack, I think, after maybe changing the tire. And that'll move, I believe, Bogle is in pit lane. He's 8th. Linus Lundqvist, Antonio Saravalli, Toby Sowery, and Stingray Robb, the drivers with issues. 3 of those drivers out. Saravalli, I believe, still on the racetrack.
Yeah, Saravalli's still out there. Probably should get past Lundqvist here. Bogle's still on the track. I think they just drove him through pit lane to kind of move him to the back.
Indeed.
Yeah, but it's, a good run for Benjamin Peterson, Devlin DiFrancesco. If you remember last year, I think at Lucas Oil Raceway, DiFrancesco was the quick driver late in the Indy Pro 2000 race. Has he figured out how to save the tires?
That's it.
That's my question, right?
Well,
like,
that
you're
was
right.
it, right? They were telling him in that race, listen, we don't have the speed to win this, but let's take care of the tires. And Stingray Rob was pushing hard, trying to battle with Cody Swanson. Such a great battle back in 2020. And they were side by side. Well, DeFrancesco was hanging out there in 5th, and when those tires came alive, he just rocketed his way to the front. And indeed, that's a wake-up call for a driver like that. That's
Really
an
is.
experience where he's always going to have that in. Hey, if I take care of my tires, if we get a late yellow, I'm going to be in a position where I may be the guy that is able to attack, and that could be DeFrancesco right now, indeed. AMR safety team going to bring that car of Linus Lundqvist. You're going to get your first kind of look at the right side of it there, or not.
We are going to be right here. No, left side.
Other side on us. We're not even going to get a look as they come by start finish, but indeed they'll go to work on that machine. Hopefully no tub damage on the car. Beautiful thing about this racetrack, the safer barriers all the way around the corners.
Yeah, it's really great to have the safer barrier all the way around the corners here. It makes things so much softer. They call them soft walls, and they're not soft. Trust me.
That's true.
Softer. Softer walls. But I remember when this place was built, and it was, man, there were some hard hits here, and it's just long straightaways, right? And tight turns. So if you make contact, it's usually heavy contact in a weird angle.
We're going back around here one more time. I'm watching the AMR safety team kind of pulling the cars off. They'll likely be able to go behind the wall, or will they looking to see whether or not they do a big wide swing to go behind the wall, or they're going to take him all the way down the back straightaway at this point, or actually they may actually take him right off of the back straightaway, essentially back to the paddock, through the hole in the back of the wall here, because we are paddocked on the outside of the racetrack here this particular weekend. Wondering when we're going to go back to green. There'll be 9 laps remaining as they cross. Oh, we're throwing the checkered flag. The checkered flag just got thrown here at start finish. I don't know if it's a time issue. So an issue, folks. We are throwing the checkered flag. We'll find out exactly why. We've decided to throw the checker here right now, checker and yellow. So that's going to end this race. David Malukas is going to get the win. Kyle Kirkwood in second. Benjamin Peterson in third. Devlin DeFrancesco fourth. Alex Perrone fifth. Daniel Frost sixth. Robert McGinnis in seventh. It'll be Christian Bogle 8th, Linus Lundqvist 9th, Antonio Saravalli 10th, Toby Sowery in 11th, and Stingray Rob in the 12th position. Tony Bachhoven will bring you in here, voice of the Worldwide Technology Raceway. I'll let you wrap things up here, Tony. I'm going to head down to Victory Lane.
All right, sounds great. Steve, what a race here.
Yeah,
we've seen some attrition. We've seen Malukas have a strong run here today, and it's you got to wonder the tires, the wear, and some of the attrition that we saw here. Yeah,
it was definitely an interesting race. Yeah, we'll have to see what the early call was for there, but we did see a few right front tires kind of delay. It looked like they almost delaminated there. Yeah. So that if I'm going to guess, that's what it's going to be. But we'll find out. Rob will find out here, and I'll find out down there. And good call if that's the case. Safety is definitely the main priority here. But wow, good oval win for David Malukas. Right there he goes. He's driving into Victory Lane now, and he's won on the road course, but this is his first oval win.
Well, coming back to the oval after the hiatus last year, it's got to be gratifying for him to have such a strong performance here today and to bring it back into Victory Lane on the return to the ovals.
Yeah, his first oval race was at IMS in the Freedom 100 in 2019, and that ended horribly with a big accident in turn 4, and it kind of affected him mentally. But he came back here later that year to Worldwide Technology Raceway and ended up on the podium, and that kind of reignited David's passion for racing and realized that, hey, this is something I really love to do, and this is something I really want to do for a living.
Well, you see that a lot in drivers, that momentum and what they call it the head game, right?
Exactly.
Those bad times get in their head, and that can take a driver out, and they need that reminder that, hey, I can do this,
exactly.
And I can be competitive.
Exactly.
So there you see him getting the helmet off and the Cooper Tires hat on, climbing out of the halo with a smile on his face.
Looks like David's a really emotional young man, and he's got to be just so excited by this.
So David Malukas getting out of the car, getting a little interview there with the TV crew down in Victory Lane. Rob on his way down there right now.
Poor Rob goes up and down these stairs a few times this weekend. He's going to get in a little bit better shape doing that. But, he'll be down there in a second, and you'll be able to hear what David has to say about this race and how he held off, Kyle Kirkwood there on that start and on the restart.
Well, it puts him second in the point standings here. coming to the close here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So a good day for him, strong run, lots of momentum coming back to the oval, and a young man getting out with a big smile on his face. A happy day for him here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Yeah, and he's with 7 races left now in this championship, and 2 points separate the top 2.
Wow.
So hang on, folks. It's going to be a good one.
And what did you say? 39 points, the most they can earn in an event?
Yeah,
Somewhere in there?
45 at this one, 30 for a normal race. So the 2 oval races are 45 is the max you can earn, and then regular races you can earn 30.
Well, he's got to be feeling really good then, getting second here in the points, a win today, 2 points back. What a huge day for that young man. Happy
Absolutely
crew
massive.
down
That's
there
his
in
dad
Victory
there
Lane.
getting him a hug.
So what a great run for him here today. You know, it'd be interesting to hear what they decide on the tires. You know,
definitely
the hot sun today, cooking that racetrack. We've seen temperatures well over 120 degrees on the track here today, and you've got to believe that's got to be a factor in on how those tires. We saw that first one clearly delaminating, and so definitely a factor here.
You know, Cooper Tires builds an awesome tire for Indy Lights. You know, that it's a tough building tires for a junior Formula Series is not easy because you've got to have the right amount of wear you want somewhere, because when they go to IndyCar, they're going to have to learn how to manage tire wear. So you've got to find that right balance, and the temperature's something that it's really tough to determine, you know, where to go with the tire. And, you know, we'll see what it is. It might not be that, you know, that I won't lie. Teams sometimes get aggressive with the stagger and with the camber. So I'll get into the paddock and kind of dig around and see what we find out.
Well, and you look at the layout of the raceway here, you know, you've got a narrower turn 1 with more banking than you do down in 3 and 4. So they're running the track at different paces on different ends of the racetrack.
Yeah, and it makes setting up the car really difficult too, because you don't, you know, you've got to have it's tough. You need to be able to get down the straightaways because they're long straightaways. So you need to, you know, get rid of downforce there so you can get a good toe down those straightaways and get into the corner first. But yeah, it's tough to get it to hold on in those corners then.
So Rob making his way down into Victory Lane, getting things ready for a Victory Lane ceremony down there. Well, great performance here on the return to the oval here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway today.
Man, it's good to be back here. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Starts to feel normal again, right?
Yeah,
Life starts to feel a little bit more normal.
It definitely does. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend for a while. It's I love short ovals. You know, it's sort of what, you know, IndyCar was built and open wheel racing was built on it. And I think you're going to see a really cool NASCAR Camping World Series truck race tonight too. I think, you know, like you said earlier, 40 trucks, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that have not been on the racetrack this weekend. So when they go to the green, that will be their first look at the racetrack. So it's going to be a very exciting NASCAR Camping World Truck Series event here later on tonight. So a few more interviews going on down in the infield, and we'll be going down to Rob here in just a few minutes.
Congratulations for David from his teammate. And that
it's good momentum for the whole team, right?
Yeah, no, it really is. They had a first and third place finish, which is really big for that team. You know, the second-year team. So, yeah, no, really big for them. And see Kyle Kirkwood in there as well. And, you know, good comeback for him.
Let's go down to Victory Lane and Rob Houghton. Rob?
Tony, thank you so much again down here in Tatis Victory Lane for the first of what will be 3 races in the road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. Of course, Indy Pro 2000 on tomorrow, and then, of course, the back end of the doubleheader for Indy Lights. We'll start with getting our drivers here, finishing in the top 3, get them on here before we talk to our winner. Finishing in 3rd spot for Global Racing Group with HMD Motorsports, Benjamin Peterson. Finishing P3. And to present him with his trophy, one of our guests from the Bommarito Automotive Group, Tommy Moltan. Thank you, Tommy. Benjamin Peterson, strong run into the 3rd spot here today, and the championship very tight up top here after today's action. Finishing in 2nd spot, a couple of close calls out there on the racetrack, but he was able to wheel it. Finishing in 2nd place for Andretti Autosport, Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle will come on in to P2 and get Maria Licovale to come in. Maria, thank you very much. I'm in second place today with Kyle Kirkwood. Up front, though, this driver getting the lead from the get-go, be able to transition off that pole position and take the win after a couple of yellow flag restarts as well. Finishing as your winner today in Indy Lights, David Malukas. Dave will bring the trophy in here right now. Savannah Wicks, again, one of our guests from Bommarito Automotive Group, will bring you your trophy. 5th win on the season for David Malukas. We'll get a chance to take a picture here first, then I'll have a quick chat with David. David, let me jump in here and have a quick chat with you first. Obviously a tough racetrack, our first oval for Indy Lights in 2 years. Give me your thoughts on the race itself. How was the track? How did the car feel?
Car felt great. Track was awesome, and I'm just happy. I mean, the beginning, I had an amazing spotter. Thank you, Luke, once again. He was telling me all the information I needed. And actually going into turn 1 here, Kyle over here had a big moment. And I noticed because Luke was talking. He's like, all right, outside. And then he stopped talking. All I heard was static. And I was like, well, what's happening? What's happening? And I looked behind, and Kirk was like full sideways. And I was like, oh, my God, he's had a good save there. But no, and then after that, I mean, he held up, he did a good bit of blocking for me, and I ended up getting a bit of a run. And from then I kept my head down, and yeah, I mean, just consistent, I guess. So.
Think of the race itself, too crucial for you. Kyle's won 5 of the last 6 races. For you to kind of stop that momentum and get a win here, you'll start second tomorrow, but I think the win itself, over and above just the victory, good to stop the momentum from Kyle.
Yeah, definitely, but also it's my first oval win, and going from incidences that were really bad in an oval. So for me, this means a lot, and I'm really happy.
Yeah, we talk about that wreck, right, at the Freedom 100, pretty bad. To be able to come back here, it really kind of wipes that away to a certain extent.
Yeah, definitely. I waited 2 years for this, so I'm happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
One more time, folks. David Malukas, my winner today in Indy Lights. Again, coming off that big wreck, as he said, the Freedom 100. Huge win here for him. I believe Kyle Kirkwood still with the point lead, but I think it's only about 3 markers right now heading into tomorrow. Kyle Kirkwood will get a chance to start on the pole position after that good second lap in qualifying earlier today. These guys will swap the top spots. It'll be Kirkwood on the inside, Malukas on the outside, and we'll be set to go again for the back end of the double header here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Our second rung of the road, Dandy, the Indy Pro 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires, will be on track as well. They'll have a single event. Last year, our Indy Lights driver, Devlin DeFrancesco, scored the win. We'll see which driver is able to step things up. James Rowe Jr. for Turn 3 Motorsports starting on the front row alongside Braden Eves from Exclusive Autosports. That's going to be a tremendous battle tomorrow as well. I believe 3:30 start time for that event. 5:30 again for the drivers here in Indy Lights to fire it back up. And the champagne flying. And Kirkwood going after David Malukas, as is Benjamin Peterson. Folks, that wraps things up from Tatis Victory Lane. Congratulations to our podium finishers here today in Indy Lights. Benjamin Peterson, his 3rd pole of the year. Malukas pulling the Malukas again, filling the back of the suit up. Kyle Kirkwood coming home in second. He remains your point leader heading into Saturday's action. And David Malukas, another win on the season, his first oval victory here in the road to Indy. Big win for David Malukas at HMD Motorsports. Folks, thank you so much for joining us today. So much more action. Tony, back up to you.
Thanks, Rob. What a great race here on the...
Here is a bit of wisdom from your Uncle Cooper. Tires exist on a spectrum. On one end, you got too much tire. On the other, you don't get enough. Both ends are rip-offs. You're either paying for more than you need or needing more even after you pay. So if you want a tire that costs what tires should cost and does what tires should do, go right for the sweet spot. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
Here is a bit of wisdom from your Uncle Cooper. Tires exist on a spectrum. On one end, you got too much tire. On the other, you don't get enough. Both ends are rip-offs. You're either paying for more than you need or needing more even after you pay. So if you want a tire that costs what tires should cost and does what tires should do, go right for the sweet spot. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
We know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Here is a bit of wisdom from your Uncle Cooper. Tires exist on a spectrum. On one end, you got too much tire. On the other, you don't get enough. Both ends are rip-offs. You're either paying for more than you need or needing more even after you pay. So if you want a tire that costs what tires should cost and does what tires should do, go right for the sweet spot. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
Welcome back, race fans, to the post-race show here for Indy Lights. I'm here with Race 1 winner, David Malukas, of the doubleheader here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. David, interesting race, started on pole, got off to a good start. Let's take me through what your spotter said to you as Kyle Kirkwood tried to go around the outside of you in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good start, good jump, clear in 1, but yeah, we were expecting it to actually be understeer off the bat. We did know about heavy fuel load, right? And heavy fuel, probably going to be oversteer, but we think overall we thought it was going to be understeer, right? So we go in 3 and 4, not understeer. I was okay, yeah, it's oversteer. Heavy fuel, yeah. So I moved the bars back, right? And go into 1, and now Kirkwood has a run on me, and I hear my spotter like, okay, he's going outside. So I'm about mid-lane, and we go in, and he continues to speak, but as soon as we kind of get to the center point, all I hear is just static on the radio. And obviously I can't look until I come out of the corner. I'm like, what's happened? I hope everything's fine. Because for me, I see nothing, and I come out, and I just see, I look in the mirror, and all I can see is Kirkwood's car like full sideways, and he saved it. I couldn't believe it.
Well, you probably could have read Road to Indy Construction Club on the side of Kyle Kirkwood's car as he came off of 2, because I was watching the broadcast. I couldn't believe he saved it. Yeah. Gathered it up. Obviously, Linus Lundqvist then attacked him, so now you've got a global racing group with HMD Motorsports behind you. That's a friendly. You settle into rhythm. Take me through about lap 50, what you're thinking.
Well, lap 50, I think that was already after the restart. And restart was great, and now I have Linus behind me. And I know race pace-wise, we are very, very similar. Sometimes when we did the testing, he would be quicker, I would be quicker, but it was always like within a tenth. And that's what happened then. I was doing 28.6, 28.7, and every lap he was almost identical. But I do think we were getting a little bit of a jump. But at the same time, he was obviously running behind me, right, in bad air, and his front tire, I think, was getting really worn out, and he ended up having a bit of an incident there. So I'm not sure what happened there. But, yeah, I mean, I think pace-wise it was roughly the same. But as soon as we did about 6-7 laps, and he was kind of just staying at the same gap, I kind of calmed down, relaxed, and I was like, okay, we got this.
Well, and it's such a nice feeling as a driver to know that you're in the clean air. You've got that advantage, and really the ball's in your court. If you don't make a mistake, there's a good chance you're bringing home a win if you've got the car. Did you move the bars back? Did the car come to you, or did it stay oversteery?
Actually, I felt like Michael Schumacher at Monaco. I was moving the bars going into every corner. Going into 1 and 2 to save the fronts, I was putting both of them into the front. And still managing, kind of not all the way. I didn't want to do drastic, but going back into 3 and 4, it tends to be more on the oversteer side, so going back. So the whole time, I mean, boosh, boosh, a little bit of hand massages, and then we come back. So I felt, I was on it, man. Every lap, my mouth was wide open, nice and dry. It was, focus mode.
So when we talk to the fans about moving the bar back and forth, so on an Indy Lights car, you've got a front anti-roll bar and a rear anti-roll bar. Usually the left is the front, the right is the rear, correct? Am I off on that?
Right is the front, left is the rear.
Perfect, all right. I had a 50-50 shot of getting that.
It works.
And then front is soft, rear is stiff?
Yeah, and then opposite for rear.
Beautiful. So what he's saying is he's saving the fronts by softening the front?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
To make it simple, what we think is if the front is understeering, we need more front, right? Put the bars to the forward. If you need more rear, you put them to the rear, and it's that simple. So I don't really actually look at soft and hard because then I can get really confused. It's actually really hard to think, when you're going 160 through 3 and 4 to like, do I go soft or hard? And then next thing you know, you just freeze and don't do anything. So.
Well, and obviously, too, you're moving a mechanical bar on the front and the rear of the car, so it's opposites, right?
Yes.
And I know anytime I've driven a car that's got bars in it, sometimes you can get confused as to which end you're moving. And on an oval, you don't want to get confused, and you don't want to mess that up. So good on you for just keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, yes. And I tell my spotters to always remind me because sometimes I do lose focus. I get a little bit stupid.
So we go under a second caution. Your mind is, okay, my teammate just crashed behind me. You probably didn't know why at that point in time.
Yeah.
And the clock goes from 14 to 0, and you win the race. What's your feeling? Is it kind of like, what is that feel? I've never had that happen.
It was surreal. First for me as well. I think we did go green at Indy Pro a couple years ago. But we come in, go into turn 1, 2, and we're still talking strategy. All right, Kyle's behind us. He's saying he might have a little bit of front wing damage. Okay, good to know. All right, I'm talking with the spotter. I'm talking with my engineer. We're figuring out, okay, what are we going to do? Maybe we go high. When do we go? We're thinking strategy, and all of a sudden, we just stop, and I'm going up to the thing, and I see a white flag, and they're like, okay, this is white flag. This is your last lap. And I was like, what? So I'm like, is it over? And they're like, well, not yet. You still have 4 corners, as like a sarcasm. So I was like, oh my God, it's actually happening. And then they start celebrating when I'm on the back straight. And I'm like, guys, I still have 2 more corners. Let's keep it calm. You never know. And so I was, short shifting, everything, just make sure I got to the line. And
got it.
I was chugging, and we got it, man.
Can't count your chickens before they hatch.
Yes,
so
it was weird, but I think we worked for it, so I'm happy.
That is awesome, David. So, first win on an oval?
Yes, it is.
And what's really cool about that, to give the fans some insight, and to, as I was watching you last year, and I've raced against you on this track at Gateway back in Indy Pro in 2018.
Very good, by the way. One of the best.
I appreciate it. But my point, ovals weren't something that, when you came to road courses, right away you were quick. Ovals you had to work at. And it's cool to see someone put the work in and then finally go out and beat, really, the top-tier drivers here in North America on the top rung of the road to Indy.
Yeah, it's big, especially for me. I think that was the one thing holding me back, one thing that I didn't really believe in myself yet. I always struggled with the ovals, and we came and I proved myself wrong here, and it feels great. Even though I'm an American driver, my first steps to open wheel racing, I went to the Middle Eastern series and I did European series, no ovals, no rolling starts, and coming back here, rolling starts, that was something quick to get to. I kind of just went with the flow. Actually, it's a funny story. I didn't know we were doing rolling, and I figured it out in a couple seconds. But moving forward, ovals, we've always struggled 2 seconds off. It wasn't just me that was new. It was also the team that we had. It was coming from Europe. They knew nothing of ovals, so that was kind of the struggle. And we also had a really big crash at Indy at the Freedom 100, and now we come here and we win my first oval race with me and the team.
Monkeys off your back. And it was cool for me, too. When I won my first Lucas Oil race in Indy Pro 2000, it was after some struggles on an oval. And to get that first win, it's tough. You think these guys are better than you. You think that they're doing something different. And then when you do it, it's like, okay, well, I can do that now. So check that bucket off. Race 2 tomorrow, starting second. What's the game plan?
Ooh, I haven't actually thought of that yet. It's kind of been nonstop. Qualifying just happened a couple hours before this race. So I will get back to you in the morning on that. I don't really know. Going into a plan, starting from the outside, let's, I don't know. We'll see. Well,
you'll have to get back to me tomorrow morning because I don't know if you know this, but every time David Malukas has a pre-race interview with me, Barber Motorsports Park, St. Petersburg, and now here, you have won races. So I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. The ball's in your court.
So what you've just done with yourself is you've just made it so you can't, you always got to be here. You always got to be in the series.
I think you are. I'm always in this booth talking.
No, where have you been for the past couple of races?
What do you mean?
I haven't.
Mid-Ohio, I was at the Cooper Tire stage.
Well, why didn't you invite me?
Well, unfortunately, didn't win a race. You got to win to come see me.
No, okay. All right.
Well, with that being said, don't go anywhere, race fans. We've got race 1 and the only race of Indy Pro 2000 coming up tomorrow. And then Saturday night, we've got race 2 of the Indy Lights.
Bye.